Across Central Oregon, we are sitting under plenty of sunshine, and today has been very nice. Temperatures warmed up just a little bit, topping out in the 60s with some 70s on the map, and there are some clouds, specifically through the Cascades and over north central Oregon. So when we just look across the high desert from Bend, that Oregon Hazards Lab camera, to Pine Mountain, and even the Prineville Reservoir from that camera that is up there from the Oregon State Parks, all show that sunshine. In fact, the Lake Billy Chinook camera from Webformix shows sunshine closer to the camera, but when looking out towards the Cascades, that's where we have the cloud cover. We can even see a lot of this cloud cover through cameras up at Hoodoo and Bachelor. So there are some clouds. These clouds are because of a very weak cold front that's making landfall, bringing some showers to the Cascades of northern Oregon, but not much to our neck of the woods. So for most of the high desert, these cameras as well show that sunshine. But when we look at that Shanneco camera, remember that one's just a little further north over southern Wasco County, really southeast Wasco County, not too far away from Antelope. But that camera shows the additional cloud cover. Even the Klein Buttes camera shows that there is a cloud because you can see that shadow just over the word Buttes. If you look just a little further to a little further up from that, you can see those clouds, the shadows from the clouds at least. And when it comes to satellite and radar, there's no precipitation that we're seeing as of right now, but over Wasco County and getting closer to Hood River and through the Cascades, there are some light showers. Now, these showers aren't putting too much on the ground. In fact, not everything that you're seeing fall is actually reaching the ground, but there are even some showers just outside, just north and just west of the Santiam Pass. And those showers are mostly just rain as of right now. When we look at the bigger picture, we are not seeing much additional precipitation from that until you get well over Washington. And so, as we go forward through the rest of this evening, a few of these sprinkles could make it into parts of central Oregon. And ultimately, this whole system is already starting to fizzle out. Now, as of right now, what we're looking at is satellite and radar. The satellite imagery is a blend of visible and infrared satellite imagery, and you can see radar layered on top of that. Now, when we go ahead and focus on cameras across central Oregon, we have dry roads. Most of these roads, even a lot of shadows on the road, and that is indicative of the sunshine that we have been seeing through the day, making for the gorgeous feel across central Oregon. Now, at Government Camp, that camera shows wet roads, and that's because those showers are coming right up to the Cascades of northern Oregon from the west side. Now, at Santiam Pass, it shows more clouds, but it looks like we still have dry roads for the most part in that area. The Diamond Lake Junction and even getting to Willamette Pass, tons of sunshine there. Now, as we go forward through the overnight hours, we are going to stay dry across central Oregon, but some PM clouds are expected Friday. As we're wrapping up the work week, it's not going to be as pleasant as it was today. Today, right on target for this time of the year. The average high temperature is 69 in Redmond and I believe 67 in Bend, and today we hit that. Seasonable. By tomorrow, a modest dip in temperatures knocks us to near and below average for this time of the year. Now, when we just focus on enhanced infrared satellite imagery, let's break that down. This is just using infrared satellite imagery, and there's an enhancement that really pulls out the taller clouds, because with infrared satellite imagery, it looks at the coldest, it shows us the coldest color of the clouds for that pixel, and when you take those temperatures and you extrapolate the taller clouds, the colder clouds, you can actually see where there's a little bit more development. And for the most part, this whole system that's moving through is starting to fizzle out, and we have low-level cloud cover from Eugene up through Portland to the west slopes of the Cascades. Now, none of this is producing any lightning, just some sprinkles rolling through, and this cold front is what triggers that slight dip in temperatures for tomorrow. When we look at the bigger picture, there's a broad ridge of high pressure out over the Pacific Ocean, and that high has been impacting us through the day, but there's another system over the Gulf of Alaska. That cold front right there, that's the one that's going to be impacting us by Saturday. Now, when it comes to winds, winds are breezy, and you can tell that because of, in both this graphic and the one before, we have those isobars, the constant lines of pressure, the solid white lines going through the map. And when you have them tightly stacked up next to each other, we call that a steep pressure gradient, and the steep gradient is going to lead to stronger winds, and they typically follow the flow that's happening. And so as of right now, winds are breezy and even gusty at times. Now tonight that tapers off. And so when we look at our forecast model where we have some of these light clouds, we're looking at more in and out cover through tonight. All of this is part of that weak front fizzling out over the Pacific Northwest, but we're pretty much staying dry from this one. We get the dip in temperatures Friday. By Friday night going into Saturday, more clouds in advance of our next system. This one actually brings a chance of some showers, but if you are looking for much needed rainfall because of the worsening drought conditions, that's not happening. You could catch some sprinkles, you could catch some showers. It will be much cooler and it will be gusty by the time we get to Saturday. And even through the Cascades, we're looking at a little bit of snow, but when we finally look at some totals, you'll see that it's just not a lot. By Sunday, some of this moisture stays with us across Central Oregon. And because of pole pedal paddle, we are going to take one more look at that for you real quick. And Friday, 3 p.m., Saturday, 4 a.m., Saturday, 7 a.m. Okay, Saturday, 6 a.m. Now keep in mind the pole pedal paddle, the first heat is going to start at approximately 9:15, but setup is expected. You're going to be getting up there if you're one of those earlier heats. And it looks like Saturday during the morning hours, we are looking at some snow showers across through the Cascades, and a few of those could make it into our lower elevations. Then the first heat starts at 9 o'clock. At that time, we could be getting a little bit of flurry or light snow shower activity up at Bachelor, but for the rest of Central Oregon, we have mostly clear to partly cloudy conditions. Some showers make it into our lower elevations, but just like that most recent system that pushed through, some of us just stay dry. A couple other spots catch a few sprinkles, and winds are going to get gusty, and some of this moisture sticks around with us through the rest of Saturday and Saturday night. Now, that's a high-resolution forecast model. I've got a couple more coming up, and we'll talk about it a little bit more in depth. But as of right now, we have very dry conditions. When you have dry conditions, those raindrops tend to evaporate before they reach the surface. We call that virga. You can actually see that sometimes where the rain is falling, but it's evaporating before it reaches the surface. So with these very dry conditions and breezy winds, the showers that are falling just to our north, I'm not expecting most of that to actually reach the ground. But once you get into the Cascades, see those green colors up there? That is indicative of higher moisture content. So percentage-wise, higher relative humidity. It looked like it was maybe 60 to 70% up there. That's where we are seeing the rain hit the ground. Meanwhile, temperatures today topped out in the 70s and 60s across the high desert. Not quite as pleasant as I thought it was going to be, but either way, it was pretty nice, especially compared to yesterday. Now, currently, temperatures are sitting in the 60s with 55 in Sun River, that double nickel right there, and 70 degrees in Warm Springs. That still represents a 5 to 10 degree jump in temperatures from where we were sitting this time yesterday. So definitely saw that rebound that was forecasted. And here through the overnight hours, it gets chilly. By tomorrow, not as pleasant across Central Oregon. In fact, we're looking at highs in the 60s tomorrow. Now, when it comes to the forecast model, I told you there were a couple more that we were going to look at. This one is looking at what we refer to as geopotential heights. And geopotential heights helps us understand where low pressure is. You can see it with the purple. Where high pressure is, you can see it with the brighter colors on the southern parts of the map. And where the jet stream is flowing. And that's that blue area we see right there. So the jet stream dipping down a little further to the south. All right, just where the blue meets the purple. But the jet stream is dipping a little further to the south by Friday, and that's because of tonight's front. Another trough is going to make landfall. And not every trough is a front, or not every cold front is a trough. What we typically see is we have these waves, and you have a ridge of high pressure building, and then a trough moves through. That's the pattern that we're in right now, at least. And this next trough is making landfall tomorrow. It's going to bring with it more clouds, and it will eventually bring another cold front. But some showers are going to be expected by Friday night going into Saturday, just not quite everybody getting wet. I need to stress that enough because if you're in the ag industry, you want the rain. We need the rain. And I'll show you the drought monitor in just a little bit. But we're just not going to be getting a lot of the rain. So as we go forward through the next couple of days, we are expecting some of these changes to continue. So here through the overnight hours, we are looking at temperatures becoming chilly. By Friday, we're looking at highs in the 60s. By Saturday, we're looking at highs in the 50s. And then by Sunday, we're back to the 50s and 60s. And that's because of that trough moving through. Then you can see that next ridge of high pressure starting to build over the Pacific Ocean. And going forward past that, we are looking looking at more precipitation rolling through the high desert. Now, when it comes to rain hitting the ground, not everybody gets wet from this. And then the high pressure builds in and the rain chances are done. So let's talk pole, pedal, paddle. The race is on Saturday. Races begin at 9:15 a.m. At that time, at 9 a.m., or I'm sorry, at 7 a.m., up at Bachelor, we're still below freezing at 39 in Bend. And so it's going to be a chilly start across the high desert, then 40s and then 50s. So it's going to be a cool day. Winds are going to become gusty and water temperatures are going to be just as chilly as the air temperatures. And that's going to be the coolest day out of the next 7. So roller coaster temperatures are expected. Winds are getting gusty, especially on Saturday. Outside of that, still breezy at times. And your forecast model actually shows that we're expecting this trough to dig in a little bit deeper. And by Friday, more clouds are expected by Friday night. That's when we start to get the showers. Freeze frame, Saturday, 9 a.m. A little bit of snow still falling in the highest elevations of the Cascades. And then through the rest of Saturday, in and out clouds are expected, winds get gusty, and some showers are going to be possible. By Sunday, we're back to more sunshine than cloud cover. By Monday, that trend continues because of high pressure. And when we look at precipitation totals between now and Sunday at 11 p.m., some light showers are possible. Some of us don't even get wet. A few spots catch a couple sprinkles, and a little bit of snow is going to be possible in the Cascades. I think that the model that I was just showing you was overdoing it a little bit. I think this is better representation of the mountain snow, just not the rain in the lower elevations. So when you take a blend of them, it looks like parts of the high desert don't even get wet. A little bit of snow in the Cascades is expected. Now, currently, wind gusts are between 20, or I should say 15 and 30 miles per hour across the high desert, so it's breezy. It is gusty at times. And by tomorrow, wind speeds are still going to be pretty strong. The actual wind speeds are 10 to 20 miles per hour. And so that means it is breezy, and tonight we get back down to a light breeze. By tomorrow, it's still going to be breezy by the afternoon and evenings with winds from the north and west across the high desert. Then by Saturday, it's just going to be gusty for many of us across central Oregon. Winds mostly out of the west as this next front pushes through the Pacific Northwest. So for tonight, expect temperatures to bottom out in the 30s with a few 20s and 40s out there. Friday, we're talking 60s across the high desert, and then the roller coaster temperatures are expected. But by next week, under more sunshine, a bigger warming trend is expected. So ultimately, we are looking at, with our weather headlines, it's going to be chilly with some clouds tonight. Modest cooling is expected Friday. It's because of that weak front today. 60s expected. Then a weak cold front Saturday is going to bring us back into the 50s. Stronger winds and some showers are going to be possible. As of right now, a little bit of sprinkle activity happening through the highest elevations of the Cascades and more clouds further to our north. But I promise that drought monitor, here it is. This is what it looked like last week, where we still had quite a bit of Central Oregon under the severe drought, moderate drought for other parts of the high desert. And then fast forward to this week, and it looks like most of Central Oregon is in that severe drought, and parts of the high desert are in the red, that extreme drought. No exceptional drought in Central Oregon. Closest exceptional drought is in southwestern Idaho. But as we go forward through the next couple of days, it's just going to be dry, even with that weak system rolling through on Saturday. So that is the latest in weather. Join us tonight on Central Oregon Daily News. We'll have the latest headlines and your most reliable forecast. See you then.